Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and I'm from amandacrochets.com, and in today's tutorial I'm going to teach you how to make this grit stitch hat. So the grit stitch hat is made using the same yarn that I use for my grit stitch baby blanket, and it is the Caron Cotton Cakes yarn, and it is a self-striping yarn, so this is just the hat that worked up for me. And it has a nice ribbed brim on the bottom, and then it has that grit stitch on top. To make this hat, you can make this hat in any size that you would like. I will show you the hat chart in a minute. So we're going to start making the brim, and then we're going to connect the brim to form a circle, and then we're going to work our hat up to the very top. Now you can add a pom-pom on top, whether you make one with yarn or you buy a store-bought one, or you make a faux fur one and wanted to include that, but I decided to not include a pom, but that's totally up to you. So again, I made the grit stitch baby blanket not too long ago, and this is what that looks like. And I thought that having a set to go together would be very cute and very practical. You can definitely use this for a baby shower gift, or give this to somebody that you know that is having a new baby. You do not have to make it in the same yarn or in the same colors that I did. You can certainly make this in any color that you would like. So I will leave a link below in case you're interested in checking out that grit stitch baby blanket. But today we're going to focus on the grit stitch hat. So let's get started. So for today's tutorial, you're going to need 1 cake of the Caron Cotton Cakes, and I am using the color Blush and Bloom, and this is a 4 medium weight worsted weight yarn, and they recommend a US H8 or 5mm crochet hook, and this is machine washable and dryable. It's 60% cotton, 40% acrylic. It's 8.8 ounces or 250 grams. It's 530 yards or 485 meters. And again, this is the color Blush and Bloom. And you don't need very much of this yarn. As you can see, I just started this skein and you barely use any yarn for it. So you could definitely get a lot of hats out of 1 cake of yarn. And then you're also going to need a size I9 5.5mm crochet hook. I am going up a hook size just because I wanted the hat to fit a little bit more loose, but you could definitely go down a hook size and use the size H crochet hook. Now if you were to use different yarn, you would use the recommended hook size for that particular yarn. However, you can always go up a hook size depending on your gauge as well. And for that handy dandy hat sizing chart, this will also be available on my blog, amandacrochets.com, and that link is going to be below, and you can always do a screenshot of this as well. But this is the hat sizing guide that I will be referring to. So you first want to look at the size that you would like to make. So say you're making a child 3 to 10-year-old size. You're going to have your head's circumference is going to measure between 19 and 21 inches. So that means the brim of your hat is going to be 2 inches smaller than your circumference. So in this case, it's going to be 17 to 19 inches. And basically that means when you're making the brim of your hat, you want it to be 2 inches shorter than the circumference of your head, because when you stretch the hat, the stretch should measure 19 to 21 inches depending on how long you're making it. And then the height of your hat from the brim to the top of the head is going to be 7.5 to 8 inches tall. So basically you want to pick any size that you would like, and then you would just go ahead and move on to the coordinating brim and height. So for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to be following the newborn to 3 month size, and that circumference is 13 to 14 inches. So that means my brim is going to be about 11 to 12 inches, and the top of my hat, or the height of my hat, is going to be 5 to 5.5 inches. So go ahead and choose your size, and we will begin as the hat is made the same exact way, just in different sizes. So to start your hat, you're going to need to make a chain of 8. Now if you would like to make your brim a little bit thicker, you can always add a few chains if you would like, but I found that 8 chains was just enough for what I would like it to be. So to make a chain, you're going to do yarn over your hook and pull through. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Let me zoom up a little bit for you so you can see. Okay, so next what you're going to do is you're going to make 1 single crochet in each of the chains across. So you're going to skip this first loop on your hook, and you're going to skip this very first chain, and in that second chain after that you're going to make 1 single crochet. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and that completes your single crochet. So you're going to do the same thing in each of the remaining stitches. So again, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And you're just going to continue this all the way across. And again, we're going to be starting with the brim of the hats. So just make 1 single crochet in each of the chains across. Okay, and then you should have 2, 4, 6, 7 single crochet stitches all together. So next you're going to chain up 1 and turn your work. Now in that very first stitch you're going to make a double crochet, you're going to make a single crochet in both loops. So if you turn your work, you see both loops. So to have this brim be a little bit more stabilized, you're going to work a single crochet in the 2 loops of that first stitch. Now in the middle stitches you're going to work in the back loop only. So again, if you turn your work, you see 2 loops. This loop right here is going to be your back loop. So what you're going to do is you're just going to insert your hook in that back loop only and make your single crochet as normal. And you're going to do this for the rest of the middle stitches until the very last stitch. So again, find that stitch behind, or that loop behind, and work in that back loop only with the single crochet. And then when you get to that final single crochet, you're going to go around both loops just like that and make your single crochet. So the very first and the very last stitch should be around both loops, and then the stitches in the middle are going to be in the back loop only, and that is how you're going to get your ridge. So you should have 1 stitch at the beginning with both loops, 5 stitches in the middle with the back loop only, and then the final stitch will be with both loops. Okay, so next you're going to make 1 chain and turn your work, and you're going to repeat this until your brim measures 2 inches below your hat circumference, or your head circumference. So again, I'm working the newborn to 3-month size, so my brim should measure 11 to 12 inches. So make sure in that very first stitch you go in both loops. And then for the 5 middle stitches, you're going to find that back loop only and work around that back loop with a single crochet. And again, with that back loop, that is how you have your ridges. Then make sure you go around that entire stitch when you get to your very last stitch. Chain 1 and turn. Go around both loops for your very first stitch. For the next 5, you're going to go in that back loop only. And then for that very final stitch, you're going to go around both loops. And then you can start to see that little bit of a ridge forming. So continue the brim of your hat until your brim measures 2 inches shorter than your head circumference. And once you have your brim, I will show you how to move on to the next step for your hat. Okay, so once your brim measures 2 inches shorter than the head circumference, you're going to chain 1 and turn, and then you're going to find that other end, and what you're going to do is you're going to single crochet the sides together. So in that very first stitch of the one side and in that first chain of the other side, you're going to make a single crochet, and it might be a little bit tricky, but just take your time with this. So you're going into the very first stitch of each side, and then you're single crocheting the sides together. So in the next stitch on one side, and then in the next chain on the other side. And you should have 7 stitches, 7 single crochet stitches all together. And this will help with the brim being sewn up basically into a round, and then that way we would be able to start on the height of our hat. Okay, so you have 1 stitch remaining. Okay, so next what you want to do is you just want to flip it inside out so that seam is on the inside of your hat, just like that. And then that way when you look at your hat from the outside, it pretty much mimics what you did already. So next what you want to do is you want to chain up 1 and turn. And we're just going to be making, for this very first round, you're going to be making 1 single crochet around the entire hat. Now, you don't have to have any certain number of single crochets. The only thing you want to keep in mind is you want that single crochet row to be an even number. And I just kind of eyeball it and try and make it as even as possible It's usually one single crochet per row. So you have one here, one here, one here. So if you just try and do one single crochet per row, you should be just fine. So you just want to make sure you do one single crochet evenly around the entire top of your hat, and you want to make sure that you end with an even number of single crochets before moving on to the next round. Okay, so for my newborn to 3-month hat size, I ended up making 42 single crochets around the first round, for the first round of my hat. Again, it does not matter if your stitches are the exact same amount as mine or not. You just want to make sure that you have an even number of stitches. Then when you reach to the beginning, you're just going to slip stitch in the beginning single crochet, chain 1, and then turn your work. So this is going to start your grit stitch. And again, if you refer to that hat sizing chart, which I have right here, you're going to look at the height of the hat now. So again, I'm making that newborn size, so my hat should measure 5 to 5.5 inches from the bottom of the brim to the top of your hat before we end up closing the top of the hat. Now if you're doing a different size, so again, if you're going to be making that child 3 to 10 size, your hat height should be 7.5 to 8 inches tall. So to start the grit stitch, you're going to make a double crochet into that very first stitch. So to make a double crochet, you're going to yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that very first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And then I forgot to mention that chain 1 counts as your single crochet. So in this very first stitch, you have that chain 1, which is your single crochet, and then that double crochet. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to skip that next stitch, and in the stitch after that, you're going to make 1 single crochet and 1 double crochet into that same stitch. So again, single crochet, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and then a double crochet, yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, you're going to skip that next stitch, and in the stitch after that, you're going to make a single crochet and a double crochet. Skip the next stitch, and in the stitch after that, make a single crochet and a double crochet. And you're just going to repeat this all the way around your hat until you get to the beginning. Okay, so I'm at the end of my first round, and you have your double crochet here, and you're going to go right into that chain 1 space and make a slip stitch. And then you're going to chain up 1 and turn your work. So you're just going to repeat this round until your hat measures the desired hat height. So again, you're going to yarn over your hook and make a double crochet into that very first stitch. You're going to skip that next stitch, which is your double crochet, and in that single crochet you're going to make a single crochet and a double crochet. Skip that next stitch, and in the stitch after that make a single crochet and a double crochet. Skip that next stitch, and in the stitch after that make a single crochet and a double crochet. Skip the next stitch, and in the stitch after that make a single crochet and a double crochet. Again, you just want to repeat this all the way around your entire hat, and you want to complete the number of rows that you need in order to make the hat height. Now if you're making a newborn size hat, it should be about 13 rows or 13 rounds, and it should measure about that size. However, you might need to go up or down a few rows just in case, because like I said, your gauge might be slightly different than mine. So go off based off of the height of your hat versus how many rows you should make, or how many rounds you should make. So just repeat this round over and over again until your hat height, and then I will show you how to end the hat with making the close up at the top. Okay, so I finished the height of my hat, and from the bottom of the brim to the top of the hat, it's about 5.5 inches, which is just perfect for what I'm looking for the size. So to end your hat, you're simply going to leave a long tail to weave in, and you just want to cut that long tail. And then to finish, all you want to do is yarn over and pull through, and then you want to pull through that long tail. Okay, then you're going to get your tapestry needle and to sew up the top of your hat, all you're going to do is you're going to go in and out of the top. So just go in and out just like so. And you want to go in about every stitch or every other stitch, and just go in and out and just weave in that, and that will pull the hat closed. Just continue doing this all the way around your hat. Okay, and then once you reach the end, all you're going to do is you're simply going to pull your hat shut. And you want to do this gently so your yarn doesn't break. And then once you feel like your hat is tight enough and closed, I like to just go back and forth over the top of my hat just to really make it secure and close up that top a little bit more. This is why leaving that long tail really helps. And I just go back and forth, like I said, over the top of my hat, just to really make it secure. And then I like to go back one more time, back the other way, in order to just make it super duper secure. Okay, and then when you're all done, I just like to kind of hide my end a little bit more in between the stitches. And then all you want to do after that is just take your scissors and you just want to cut that. And then you want to do the same for this tail right here. But for now, I'm just going to tuck it under. And this is what your grit stitch hat looks like. So again, you can see with the two different, with the yarn, you have the self-striping yarn, so you're going to get two different effects. So I started with this hat right here, which started with that taupey brown color into the lighter brown, and then a little bit of that coral, and then this is the rest of that coral into the pink, into that cream. So you can definitely put both of these hats together with that grit stitch baby blanket, and that will be a nice little baby set that you can give somebody. You can only give them one hat if you choose, but again, it's really up to you. This is a very quick and easy hat to make. You can make it from a preemie size all the way up to a large adult size hat by following that hat sizing chart that I showed you at the beginning. The free pattern is going to be on my blog, which I will go ahead and leave that link below. If you want a PDF version of this pattern, which is no ads, I will leave that link below to my Etsy shop for you to purchase. So thank you so much for joining me today on how to make the grit stitch hat. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and I hope you give this hat a try. Please like, comment, and subscribe to see all future videos by me. And as always, happy crocheting! Bye!